A cruise through the Panama Canal is a bucket list trip due to its engineering genius. I now see why it's considered one of the 7 wonders of the modern world. We did a full transit cruise through the original 1914 locks on Holland America's Oosterdam. The cruise went through all 6 locks, so you can cross from the Pacific to the Atlantic Ocean in less than 12 hours. We entered the canal from the Pacific side. The first landmark is the Bridge of the Americas, and then you soon arrive at the 2 Miraflores locks, where the ship is raised 54 feet. Next, you'll come across the single Pedro Miguel lock, where the ship is raised another 31 feet to get to 85 feet above sea level so that you can pass through the Culebra Cut and the Gatun Lake. At the end of the lake are the final 3 Gatun locks, where the ship is lowered 85 feet to meet the level of the Atlantic Ocean. The transit will end at the Atlantic Bridge. All in all, the passage is about 48 miles long. In addition, most cruise ships have an information session on the evening before the transit so you can learn more about what to expect and the time that you will begin. The session will also share the canal's history, how it was constructed, and how engineers overcame the barriers encountered. This is a great reference guide to help you plan your day as well as your viewing spots during the passage. Our passage began around 6 a.m., and since we traveled from west, we saw Panama City waking up at dawn. The colorful building in the skyline on the left is the Biomuseo, a natural history museum. As we began our journey, a Panama Canal company pilot joins the ship to help guide it through the canal. First landmark was the Bridge of the Americas, aptly named since this bridge connects the North and South American land masses. The bridge is only 190 feet above sea level, so any ship that travels in the Panama Canal must be able to sail underneath the bridge. Some larger cruise ships, such as the Symphony of the Seas, are taller and cannot pass through the canal. Left, you see the green ship Salome starting its passage through the Miraflores locks. On the right, the freighter Evergreen is heading toward the 2016 newly built Cocoli locks. You now know that there are 2 different ways to see the Panama Canal, and that depends on which set of locks your ship will use. The original locks accommodate ships that are less than 110 feet wide and 1,050 feet in length. A couple of comments on the new locks. The new locks also have 6 chambers, but are divided into 2 groups of 3. The Pacific's Cocoli locks and the Atlantic's Agua Clara locks. The new locks are wider to accommodate larger ships, and they double the volume capacity of the canal. However, they have different operating procedures. They use tugboats to center the ship in each chamber and have sliding gates instead of doors. As our ship approached the Miraflores locks, we were surprised to see 2 men and a rowboat coming towards the ship. These men bring 2 ropes that are used to attach to one of the ship's diesel-electric powered mules. 4 mules are used to guide the ship, 1 forward and aft on each side. These mules communicate with each other via bells and whistles. Our ship is approaching our first set of locks. A lock is a large concrete chamber that is flooded with or drained of water to equal the sea level to where the ship is waiting to enter. When the locks are ready, the ships sail in and the rear gates close. At Miraflores, the ship will be raised up 27 feet in each lock chamber by filling it with water. The Salome in front of us has been successfully elevated in the first lock. Our first set of lock doors are opening, and we are ready to enter the lock. Here are the diesel-electric powered mules. I was amazed that the old locks still use much of the original equipment. Our ship is in the first lock, the doors have closed, and it is being filled with water. Starting in the lower right-hand side and going clockwise, the water level is rising. It only takes a few minutes to fill or drain the water in the lock. When the lock chamber is filled, the next step in the process begins. Wait for the miter doors to open so we can proceed into the second lock. Here, the Miraflores Visitor Center greets you with cheers. If your captain is friendly, he will blow the ship's horn to say hello to the crowd. We now sail away from the first two locks and continue our passage in the Miraflores Lakes so we can get to the single Pedro Miguel lock. This is a great view from the back of the ship so that you can see the differing water levels in each of our locks. Getting through the Miraflores locks will take you about 45 minutes. We are now approaching the single Pedro Miguel lock. The miter doors are opening to allow the ship's entry, and then a view when they are fully open, waiting to be flooded with water to raise the ship. The Centennial Bridge is in the background, and it's the second of 3 bridges that span the canal. Being on the ship's bow is the best vantage point for the crossing to see the locks in operation. At Pedro Miguel, the ship is raised 31 feet to navigate to the next stage of the transit. The lock doors opened once the desired water level is reached, and our sail continued below the Centennial Bridge. Here, we spent about 30 minutes in this lock. We are now in the Culebra Cut, an artificial valley that goes through the Continental Divide. It's 7.8 miles long and was both widened and deepened to accommodate the larger ships for those new 2016 locks. As you sail through the Culebra Cut, you will see several ways the Panamanians maintain this corridor. The terracing that you see here, as well as concrete retaining walls and wire mesh. There are also strict speed restrictions here and in the Miraflores Lake. Your ship's maximum speed is 10 knots per hour, so it takes some time to complete this part of the journey. So now it's a good time for you to take a break or get lunch or even have a light snack. Culebra Cut, you pass through the town of Gamboa, where you'll see its hallmark large red and white crane used by the canal's dredging division. At the end of the Culebra Cut is Gatun Lake, which is 85 feet above sea level. It takes about an hour to cross the lake, so now is the time to look for monkeys, alligators, birds, and other wildlife. The freighter Salome continued ahead of us at the Gatun locks, which have 3 chambers. Here you can see the Salome in the first lock chamber in the upper left. It has sailed into the second lock and is now being lowered to prepare for entry into the third lock. Gatun locks, the ship is lowered 85 feet to sea level for the Atlantic Ocean. Here you can see the lock doors opening and the mules in action who will guide our ship through the lock chamber. You can also see the lower water level after the final lock. Lastly, the Salome is completing its journey and it's going onward to the Atlantic Ocean. We were also treated to seeing a freighter that was passing through the locks on the other side of us as well. For a special treat, if you call a friend, they can capture a photo or screenshot of your ship as it passes through the locks. We were able to get some photos of ours as we were passing through the Gatun locks from one of the Panama Canal web cameras. We loved our full transit cruise through the Panama Canal. The peak time for this cruise is Panama's dry season, which is from late November to April, so you may want to book early. I hope you've enjoyed our mini tour of the Panama Canal transit. If so, please like the video or subscribe to the channel. I really do appreciate it. And if you want to learn about the 4 key decisions to make when you book a Panama Canal cruise, take a look at this video that's linked here. Thanks for watching.